Rock 102 Springfield Classic Rock. It's 5:34. And Tom Petty with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's going to be a kind of a weird weather day. It's going to rain through most of this morning and then be cloudy maybe late in the day. There's a chance of a wintry mix earlier in the day with a high of 42. Tonight, few clouds, low at 33. And then for tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 52. It's about 34 degrees right now and snowing in some areas. So don't go crazy. Just be careful, just in case. Scott Cohen will be joining us later on today. We'll also have another round of home show tickets to give away. That's coming up, I believe, next weekend at the Big E. And a lot of other stuff, too. Bax and Nagle on Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:50 and Def Leppard with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Going to be rainy today with a high of 45. Tomorrow, not too bad. High of 52, a mix of sun and clouds. It's 35 right now in downtown Springfield.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call Western Mass Masons for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
Joe Gatto, whatever you want to say his name is, from Impractical Jokers, is being accused of sexual misconduct by two women.
He was one of those guys who was on the show, right?
Yeah, it was always in the, well, he did some skits.
No, he was on our show. Didn't we talk to him? We talked to a couple of these guys from Impractical Jokers.
No, we talked to Murr. I don't know. Maybe we did talk to Joe Gatto, whatever.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. He's right up there with the ranks of what's his name, I guess? Jared from Subway.
Jared Fogle?
Yeah. Anyway, last Thursday, a woman went on TikTok and accused Joe of sexually assaulting her back in 2023 when she was 19. She claims the incident occurred after Joe and his wife, Bessie, had reconciled following a separation. Joe denied the assault claim, but he might not be denying something that happened. He said, quote, "I've used poor judgment and as a result have violated the trust of the people I love the most. Working on myself is an ongoing process, and I'm now going to take some time away from the public eye to focus my energies where I need to." A second woman has since come forward, claiming she worked for Joe for 2 years, and during that time he would inappropriately grab her, ask her for back massages, and ask her about her sex life, and if she rejected his advantages or refused to flirt back, he would be rude to her at work. Joe left Impractical Jokers in 2022 to work on some undisclosed issues in his personal life.
I'm going to guess this was one of them.
Probably. That's also when he separated from Bessie, but they got back together in 2023. Don't call Denzel Washington a Hollywood actor because that's not how he sees himself. Quote,
but he is.
What's the definition of a Hollywood actor? Myself, I'm from Mount Vernon, so I'm a Mount Vernon actor. I don't know what Hollywood means. Denzel considers himself, quote, a stage actor who does film. It's not the other way around. I did stage first. I learned how to act on stage, not on film. Those people get really, really sensitive about that.
The stage people.
The stage people.
As opposed to like the TV and film people, the ones who are working.
Because, you know, if you really do look at it, the people who are on stage, that there's a lot more effort that has to go into that in order to be considered, good at what you do. Whereas you're trying to remember lines from an entire show as opposed to you're on film, you get to retake that thing 100 times before you get it right.
It's not that much different than us. Look how we look down on the people who are on AM radio, or how the NPR people look down on us.
Oh, they do look down on us like we're some.
Well, they got good reason.
No, what are you talking about?
We are heathens.
Denzel is on Broadway right now doing Othello with Jake Gyllenhaal. The play recently broke a Broadway record for a single week box office gross. Yeah, because the tickets are like $900, so if you sell 5 of them, you probably beat the full crowd over at Grease.
And who doesn't want to see, who's he with?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Who doesn't want to see Jake Gyllenhaal do Shakespeare?
Yeah. The idea that anything breaks a box office record when the ticket is 300% more than it used to be.
Or if it's in 9 times more theaters than some of these artsy-fartsy films.
How can, they never say attendance. They don't say how many thousands of people went to see it. They
just
say
box office.
How much money did we generate? Well, when the ticket is hundreds of dollars. Anyway, Stifler's mom may have been the ultimate MILF, but Jennifer Coolidge says she gets more real-life action from The White Lotus than she did from American Pie. Even though I play a complete weirdo in White Lotus, cute guys come up to me. This is far better than American Pie because people were really sad about Tanya falling off of a boat.
Who is that?
That's Jennifer Coolidge. That's
Uncanny.
my Jennifer, isn't it?
That's uncanny.
I could be her.
It makes me want to grab a pie and start ripping through it.
She adds, quote, "Look, I got a lot of benefits out of Stifler's mom, believe me. They might be over now, but once in a while you still get a Stifler mom thing." Yeah, because all of those people are now in their 40s.
She's now in her...
She's now
almost 60s.
Oh, she's almost 70, I think.
Is she that old?
60-something, yeah.
I thought she was more towards my age. Oh, well.
Monday sucks enough already, but I'm going to make it worse by reminding you how old you are, since you brought that up.
Okay.
All right. The Jonas Brothers have announced the dates for their upcoming 20th anniversary tour. Yep. The Jonas Brothers have been together for 20 years.
Actually, the Joe Bros have been together their entire lives.
I was old when they started. The tour kicks off August 10th at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey and wraps up November 14th at the Mohegan Sun Arena. The band says, quote, "Our fans have been with us through every chapter, and this tour is our way of honoring them. We can't wait to make this our biggest, most unforgettable tour yet."
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do. You bring back groups.
Well,
the whole 90s thing. Remember like 5 or 6 years ago, the whole 90s thing was a big to do, and they were bringing back all these rap artists. They were bringing back NSYNC.
Oh, they're still doing those kinds of package tours and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to wrap your greasy little mitts around the fact that the Jonas Brothers have been around for 20 years.
Elton John has advice for up-and-coming musicians, and it emphasizes reality over reality TV. In other words, avoid those talent competitions like American Idol and just start gigging. Obviously, when Elton was coming up, that's how musicians made it, and he still thinks that's the key. Quote, "That experience stood me in great stead for when I became Elton John because I had a backbone, and backbone is important to me. I like bones."
He likes the backbone.
Yes, he does.
He likes the front bone, too.
I ain't gonna get none of it, though. Because the worst thing that can happen to you in the industry are things like X Factor and instant fame on television where you have no experience of playing live. You get put on stage and you can't do it. That's the worst thing. American Idol, just the worst. Take risks. Go play in a pub.
He's probably not wrong.
No, he's probably
He's
not.
probably right.
Well, I mean, how many times have you seen that happen where somebody gets instant fame?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of those singers have been singing for years and have been gigging. But, this just kind of pushes them forward probably before they're ready.
Kim Kardashian revealed she uses transparent hot body oil for tanning.
No kidding. She must have something to say.
Oh, my God. The last time I covered my body in hot oil was when Ray J sprayed me with hot butter bungus and stuck it to my wizard sleeve in that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95.
Caitlin?
You ever have the hot butter bungus?
No, I have had the wizard sleeve, though.
Goes good on toast.
I'm sure it does.
Well, I never got that done and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but I once stuffed the fudge box with the custard candy cane. I covered her Hershey Park with weasel sneeze.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is I pulled out my garden hose out of the dirt box and went around the front and gave her a belly button bird bath. You know what kind of bird eats out of there?
I have an idea.
A cockatoo.
I was going, or a titmouse.
Or a titmouse.
One of the two.
Or a peacock.
Or a swallow.
Yes, all of those. It's like a bird-eating haven over there. All the with my aviary, whatever. You're I was going to do the weather. For the birds, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's your Hollywood trash of Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch. Brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? So, how you doing on your brackets? I got asked that question no less than 15 times over the last 24 hours, and one bracket question every 1.46 hours. That's crazy. And regardless of the time, here's my standard answer to that question. The answer is they're crap. They're a humiliating shambles just like everybody else's. How bad are they? Well, let's just say on the ESPN Tournament Challenge, I'm currently in 4.2 millionth place with an accuracy rating of what seems to be a respectable 82.5%. On the other hand, of the 497 people who participated in the Rock 102 Brackets Brawl contest, I'm in 10th place with a different but yet no less disastrous set of brackets. Now, at the Rock 102 tournament, I feel good that there are at least 487 people who did worse than me. But according to ESPN, they typically receive more than 24.4 million brackets each year. I don't know if these numbers are accurate. I do know that there's at least 4.2 million people who are doing better than I am. Look at these disastrous picks heading into the Sweet 16. I had Auburn, Texas A&M, Iowa State, Michigan State, Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Kansas, Duke, Oregon, Wisconsin, Alabama, Houston, Purdue, Kentucky, and Tennessee. I got hosed by Texas A&M. Iowa State couldn't beat Ole Miss. Kentucky never made it past the first round against Arkansas. Oregon couldn't handle Arizona, and Wisconsin choked to BYU. And yes, I sat through that entire first down beatdown that Marquette took from New Mexico. It was the most improbably disappointing thing to ever happen on the Marquette campus since I walked out of there with a degree. Now look, I realize that bracket competitions are designed for failure, just based on some simple laws of probabilities. The numbers are completely stacked against you from the very moment you fill them out. But to be in 4 millionth place, why, it's almost as if my brackets were filled out by a complete idiot who doesn't have the faintest idea what the hell he's doing. And to make matters worse, I'll do it again next year just to see if I do any better. Which I won't, since I've been living under the same delusion for the last 35 years and counting without any luck whatsoever. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You don't need a big grill. You need a Weber Spirit compact 2-burner Weber workhorse. Only $400 at Rocky's, delivered and assembled. Take a tailgating, put it in the garage, put it on your balcony. Small grill, 2-burner Weber Spirit from Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102.
102 Springfield's Classic Rock at 612 and Aerosmith with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Chilly out there this morning. Actually, I saw a few snowflakes on the way in, and that's going to change over to rain by this afternoon with a high of 55. Tomorrow, not too bad of a day. Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 52. It's 35 right now in downtown Springfield.
Scott Cohen will be joining us next hour. We'll talk probably a little basketball, maybe some other things too, and just after 7 o'clock.
All right.
Okay?
How was a weekend?
The weekend was fine. I can't say I did a hell of a lot.
You didn't go to the parade or the road race?
Avoided every bit of it.
Yeah, that I saw some videos. What a turnout, especially for that road race. Lots and lots of people. There's people who was messaging me, and a friend of mine. He's like, I went and did a 5K with the family. They all went and did the.
We all did the race.
5K, yeah, and I was like, I never pictured you as a 5K kind of guy, but I guess everybody gets into it. Or 10K. It's a 10K. It's not a.
It's not 5.
No, it's. The way I would do it, it would be at the pace of a 5K.
I don't want to make this sound like I'm trashing the event because I'm just not, because I know that people love it. And as I'm looking at the Facebooks and the Instagrams and even some of the TikTok videos that were out there over the weekend, don't take this wrong. I really don't want you to take this wrong. In my head, the younger of me would have said, man, that would have been a hell of a lot of fun. But the older me is saying, look at these drunken idiots.
Yeah.
To me, where, and ironically, there were people online who were as old, if not older, than me. So It's like, it ain't just age. I just think I've just become disinterested in getting blasted in public anymore.
Well, yeah.
What a sad state of affairs.
But, 22 did this whole story about how the economy is just booming when this event comes through town.
Yeah.
This yearly event pops up. Local businesses booming after a Holyoke St. Patrick's Parade. Frequent customers, first-timers, and those in the area were among many who wanted to continue celebrating their Irish roots after the parade. That's not even including the road race. Road race, you had all of these bars.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night, there's like it goes. I say it go. It's just like a race. It goes in waves. You know, the oldest people are now scattering about around 6 or 7 o'clock at night to other towns, like making their way back home.
Right.
And a lot. I ran into some people on Saturday night that were taking Ubers. They had taken Ubers to other establishments to get home. So at least you're making the smart move there, because
if you were an Uber driver in Holyoke,
yeah,
Saturday or Sunday, you probably raked in amazing tips all weekend long.
Yeah. I think that I was thinking of that myself afterwards. I'm like, I wish I had a vehicle that I didn't care about that would be puked in. That I could make some extra money with Uber on the side, because I mean, you can't just sign up. You got to go through a vetting process and whatnot.
Well, there's a different charge for someone who pukes on your car than there is for one who pukes inside your car.
One day you'll have to tell me why you know this.
If I tell you, it's just going to be between you and I.
I know.
It's not going to be a public story.
Well, it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be. But I will tell you that it is a surge pricing.
Yet
type
you
of
still
situation.
have a 4.93 Uber rating.
Yes.
Don't you?
Yes, I do.
How is that possible?
Big tips.
Yeah, I bet. Big tips on top of a cleaning fee.
Let's just say
I've never seen you stumble like a leprechaun out of any establishment ever in my. I'm joking.
Sure, you most definitely have.
Yeah.
When we went on that when we did all them Halloween parties. In the limo.
And we're drinking King Cobras in the back of the limo, along with Jello shots at everybody else's house that we were going to.
You're great. Going through of the 5 parties we went to, 3 of them had a booze luge. All of them.
Yeah.
That was a good night.
Yeah,
good time. Much of that night is a big fuzzy blackout, but I was told I had a good time.
We should do that again.
And day 1 will be November 1st.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like it was a very successful weekend. Good for the folks out there in Holyoke and all the businesses making money off that. I chose to go the safe middle-aged man route and took my dog for a walk over at C.H. Robinson Park over in Agawam.
Oh, very nice.
And then I stopped at Autumn Mist Farm.
Ooh.
On North Westfield Street in Feeding Hills. That's the actual street that it's on. Yesterday, I made a video of the item that I picked up from the Autumn Mist Farm. And that is the Home Wrecker hot dog.
Now, you've mentioned this before, just for those who don't recall what the Home Wrecker hot dog is. Could you try to explain the proportions here?
Listen, if you want to see a video of this thing, you can go on my social media pages, the Facebook, the Instagram, and the TikToks, and see the size of this thing. It's about 18 inches long, and it's probably about 3.5 inches thick. It's huge.
Really?
It's a hot dog. It looks like a kielbasa, but it's a hot dog.
It looks like, say, like a Ron Jeremy film.
And here's the thing about the Autumn Mist stuff, and it's all local beef.
Sure.
They take that beef and they get it processed, and then they put it back in their little store, and they sell it right there. They got a lot of good stuff over there, man.
So it's nice and fresh.
Yeah, but this hot dog, huge. I took it home Saturday. I let it defrost because it was frozen in their freezer case. Did you see it?
I'm looking at it now.
It's huge.
The fact that you had to cook 2 of them make me think you are a very hungry boy.
I cooked 2 of them. I'm gonna use I couldn't eat it. It was so big. I couldn't eat it by myself. So I cut it up. I eventually cut it up in little portions.
Yeah.
And then now I have it, snacked away for a snack pack.
Now, is that sauerkraut, relish, and mustard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
That's the
keep
way.
looking
No
at that.
ketchup on there. Not like a child.
No,
I'm
that's
not a
5.
12-year-old.
What are you, a 5-year-old?
No, I'm
you're going to
not.
waste that on a home wrecker.
No. But it kind of reminds me of the taste of a Nathan's. You ever have Nathan's in your mouth?
I have.
Yeah. But it has that, it's that all beef hot dog. But it's freaking huge. It's a little almost too big.
Like when you get the hot dog at Costco.
Yeah.
That's a quarter-pound hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
The big hot dog. Do you find that to be too much?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So I kind of like the like the girthiness of it all.
But I don't eat as much as I used to. Anyway, I don't eat anywhere nearly as much as I used to. I used to be gobbling. I would gobble that whole thing down, and I say in the video that this thing comes with its own safe word because it's so big. And it is a home wrecker because I wound up sleeping on the couch last night, gurgling, anxiety. But it was absolutely delicious. It's just that it's so big, and it would be great for parties. You get a party.
Sure.
You cut that up into sections, which is eventually what I did with it, because there was no way I was going to eat that. It's like 2.5 pounds. It's freaking huge. It's
You're not one of these Randy Santel type of guys where you eat like 50 pounds to win a free T-shirt. I mean, you're not that kind of guy.
I can't do that.
But that's an impressive dog right there.
And
the home wrecker.
And in the video, I said Springfield Street and Feeding Hills. Now I also tagged the business in the post. So if you click on the post, you'll realize that it is not on Springfield Street. I don't know why I said that. I think because so many times we've mentioned Springfield Street and Feeding Hills, that kind of thing. It's North Westfield Street that it's on. And some guy was giving me guff yesterday.
Guff.
His name was Dwayne, and it was spelled Duane. And he goes, it's actually on North Westfield Street. Surprised. All the times you say you go there all the time. I'm like, I go there by muscle memory. I know exactly where the place is.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to what street I'm on most of the time. And frankly, I got my internship at 22 News. That's why I give misinformation out like that sometimes. but I know exactly where it is. It's the old 911 Burgers and Dogs location that has been transformed into a nice little eatery and everything there. So I don't really pay attention. I made a mistake. So I wrote this guy back and I said, I made a mistake, Dwayne, and I spelled Dwayne, Dwayne.
Yeah. You tell him. You showed him a thing or
shove
two.
it to you, pal.
Look at you.
But if you
snapping back.
If you get a chance, I put that thing on the grill for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Kind of get it nice and brown on all the other sides. And
delicious.
Somebody's like, where'd you get the bun that size? I had to buy an entire loaf of French bread at the grocery store because that's how big this thing is.
Yeah, a normal bun would never accommodate something like that. Even if you put like several buns together.
It's the smaller loaf of French bread. They have the two sizes of French bread in the grocery store.
A baguette.
But
yes.
you want to get the smaller one. But even the small, that's a lot of bread.
A lot of bread.
But good on Autumn Miss Farms for cooking up the home wrecker.
It's 6:23 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
You commission boilers, balance air handlers, hang ductus.
It's 6:25 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown has the full forecast for you.
This week, my guest on Baxy's Musical Podcast is singer, songwriter, radio host, and podcaster Keith Roth. Keith is currently the lead singer of the band The Dictators. He's also been the co-host of the Rockstrap Podcast, a podcast that he and his co-host, comedian Don Jameson, talk to rock guys about their favorite sports teams. He's also been a longtime host on Hair Nation and Ozzy's Boneyard. He talks about his longtime collaboration with David Johansen and Sylvain from the New York Dolls. He's just released his first solo album, even though he's appeared in like 50 albums over the last 25 years. The new record came out late last week called The Law of Diminished Return, and it's a really cool interview. Fascinating guy, and you can hear it on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, rock102.com, and on the app. Brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. It should be in Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock.
Speaking of your podcast,
yeah,
I see you backed away on that post, that Facebook post the other day.
No, I hid the message.
You hid the messages,
but unhid it.
Yeah, but they were gone when I went back to look.
Really?
Yeah. And that guy, what was his name again?
Handsome Dick Manitoba.
He got a little saucy with one of the other people that responded to him. Matter of fact, even wrote this person a direct message with an insult, with a "put down the fork, fatty." This guy's got a real craw up his butt.
Yeah, actually, I'm for whatever reason, I'm not finding that post.
Because I wrote a response to it.
Yeah, no, it's
still there?
I still got it up there.
Oh, I couldn't find it when I went back to your page. But that guy, he's got some issues.
He's got a little bit of impulse control problems.
A little?
Yeah,
lot.
Interesting. I think maybe he removed it.
Maybe he removed his response,
or he removed his. It looks like he removed his comment because then it's not there.
That's a big pussycat way of doing stuff. Because you go out there guns blazing, and then you realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't have wrote that. I'm just going to delete the comment. Now you just have people looking like they're arguing with themselves.
Right. The situation is that so Keith is now the lead singer of this band, the Dictators, who were around back in back in the early 70s, and like Bruce Springsteen is a big fan. All this anyway. Handsome Dick Manitoba was one of the original lead singers of the band. He left or was let go or whatever, and they bring this guy Keith Roth just a few years ago, and there's a little bit of
animosity,
not towards Keith per se, but towards the other members of the band, two of which I've already interviewed, and they just can't seem to get along.
I offer a satellite class of the Steve Nagle College of Criminal Knowledge. It doesn't have anything to do with criminal activity, but it teaches you how to be a real dick on social media. And if I could get Mr. Handsome, what is his name?
Handsome Dick
Manitoba. Handsome Dick Manitoba into that class, I can show him to, you know what? If you're going to stand up for something, go all the way with it. Don't back out. You're deleting comments now. That makes you look like a big pussy cat.
Well, what are you going to do, Steve? The guy's had a career. He's a little hurt.
Yeah.
A little bothered.
There's nothing like watching a good Facebook drama unfold in front of your eyes. It's
I agree.
Have you been on the community forums lately? You want to laugh?
I want to laugh.
All right, let's laugh.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
On Rock 102.
I make you laugh.
Springfield's classic rock.
A plague, a common cold, and tuberculosis walk into a bar.
Okay.
And the bartender goes, "What is this? Some sort of sick joke?" You just get it? Because they're all sick. They're all diseases. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
Took me all weekend to come up with that.
It's a good one,
yeah,
Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bax and Nagle in the morning on Rock 102. Springfield's classic rock.
Here's your
6:32 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. It is brought to you by the Western Mass Home and Garden Show at the Big E, March 27th to the 31st. Check out the show at westernmasshomeshow.com. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. A sea of people could be seen gearing up Saturday to tackle the 48th annual Holyoke St. Patrick's Road Race. It's only been going on for 48 years, the road race part?
The road race, yes. The parade, much longer.
Oh, I thought they were just hand in hand from the beginning of the parade. Because isn't that like we're going over 100 and something years with that thing now?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think the road race was always started off as a much smaller event, and then at some point, I don't remember what year it was, it just exploded. Like people were actually making an event of that, to the point where some people say it's almost as fun, if not more fun, than the parade.
It marks the beginning of a spirited weekend in Holyoke where the streets were flooded with green and Irish music was ringing throughout. No matter if you're Irish or not, everybody's Irish this weekend, as expressed 2025 Grand Colleen Moore Reardon. Each year, the road race brings 7,000 runners from all over the world right to downtown Holyoke. And that's usually there's a lot of runners in Holyoke, but that's mostly because of some nefarious thing that they just committed.
Right.
They're running from the police.
Usually there's like some contraband or something that may have not initially have been theirs.
Everyone is decked out in green with their running sneakers laced up and ready to go before the big 10K run. The shorter and more family-friendly kids run kicked off the day, so everyone was able to get their taste of excitement. I thought you put them at the end.
The kids?
The slowpokes.
I don't know.
Many area children were excited just to be outside and doing the festivities. It may be the biggest running event in Western Mass, but it's the tradition of race day, the cheering, the outfits, the block parties that make that race unlike any other in the region. It's that tradition that the St. Patrick's Committee hopes shines through year after year. Yeah, at least they're making up. Remember that year they didn't have it?
Sure do.
2020, where everything was canceled.
It's a very sad year.
Yeah, well, now they're back in business, baby.
Again, I'm not a runner. I'm not I don't enjoy the crowds like I used to. I feel like I'm just an old man, but then I look at the pictures and see the videos, and I realize, no, they're people much older than me. Maybe they're younger in their older years than I am in my mid to late 50s.
Yeah.
What does that say more about me, or does that say more about those people?
That says a hell of a lot more about you than it does anything.
Okay, I can accept that.
And as the last group of marchers wrapped up the St. Patrick's Parade in Holyoke, the crowd headed off to their favorite Irish pubs to celebrate the last bit of St. Patrick's Day left. I gotta get that into the tap. Like that leprechaun diarrhea pouring. We gotta tap. We gotta finish off this Guinness tap. Who's got the last foam left?
I need the last bunch of sludge from the bottom of the green keg.
You get a whole weekend like that. You walk into a bar. They're almost out of almost everything because, it's the end of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get a guy who, you know what? Just give me a sample of each of those taps.
I'm sure that happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can do that. Sure.
Give me a.
It's not exactly a beer flight. It's like a
brew stew. Yeah, you're putting in. You're mixing in Bud Light with Guinness.
Yeah.
To make some sort of concoction, but you don't care.
There's also
it's the last drink of the day.
There's also that one guy who will go from table to table to bar stool to bar stool.
Yeah.
And emptying, and dumping all the half-empty beers into his pitcher.
Oh yeah,
all that backwash. It's stuff that's been, partially in people's mouths and didn't quite make it all the way down.
I knew a guy in college who did that, who would go around and take the half-empty drinks because he felt it was waste. It's wasted alcohol.
Yeah,
you have a half drink here, but it's like now you look back and go, that's pretty disgusting. Because God knows what somebody put in there.
I knew a guy whose reputation, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure if I tell the story, he'll agree, that one of his big claims to fame was that at the end of bar night, he'd start drinking from the ashtrays. Back when they had ashtrays.
Drinking from the ashtrays?
That's right.
Imagine me pouring beer into pouring the leftover beer into an ashtray and then drinking it?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's disgusting.
Well, sometimes dudes do things when they're drunk that's really, really gross.
Yeah.
That's just a part of being drunk. It's like the guy, I'm sure you've seen guys who've done this. I certainly have seen guys who've done I have never done it. But the guy that suck a condom in his nose and pull it through his mouth and do the old
doing the old the waxing.
Right.
What are they flossing?
he's flossing
your nostril.
He's flossing his nasal passages.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I remember,
but that's something only a drunk guy does.
We got. You remember there was a bar in Westfield. We went there around St. Patrick's Day. It was called Davio's. It's where the CVS is now.
Yeah.
It was a place called Davio's, and we went in there, and we didn't have any money to be in there. So we brought our own beer,
right?
Which was the Busch Light Long Necks, right?
Ooh, top of the line.
Here's the problem: they didn't sell Busch Light Long Necks at Davio's. So when the guy was walking around picking up the empties, he looks at it and he goes, "Oh." And you could tell, the conversation he's having in his head going, we don't sell this here. And then he looks over at our group of degenerates and sees we're all drinking these Busch Light Long Necks that we had snuck in through our coats and shirts and everything like that. We were promptly kicked out of the bar.
Oh, that's not fair.
That isn't fair.
No.
Listen, if you're a poor college kid and you can't afford the exorbitant prices of a $2 beer,
My recollection of
Yeah.
Davio's, it was not.
No, it wasn't a high class kind of place.
It wasn't terribly expensive.
But it was a local pub. It was it was a neighborhood / college bar. There's people from the neighborhood there, and then there was people who were mostly going to Westfield State at the time. Oh, those were the good old days.
They sure were.
Yeah, I can't remember. They knocked that place down. That was a
sad day.
tragedy. As Braintree police investigated a report of a man lying under a truck in the middle of the road before fleeing on Friday, officers were called to another scene where a man had been struck by a different box truck. The first incident happened just before 1:20 p.m. The man entered the road at 1574 Washington Street in front of a delivery driver's truck as it was driving. The driver stopped the truck before hitting the man, but the man continued walking to the truck and laid down underneath it. The driver had to get out of the truck and physically remove the man from beneath the vehicle. The man then ran away, heading northbound on Washington Street. As police were investigating that case, they said several 911 calls were made about a man who was hit by a box truck near 1599 Washington Street, an address that is about a 2-minute walk from where the incident took place. Police did not immediately respond to Mass Live's request for an inquiry regarding if the man hit at 1599 Washington Street was the same man who laid beneath the vehicle at 1574 Washington Street. But it probably was.
Yeah. Well, ever you just need to lie down so bad that it just didn't matter where you were doing it?
The box truck was owned by the Braintree Electric Light Department, who then said, "Hey, you guys!" The man was treated by first responders before he was taken to a local hospital with serious injuries. The crash is still being investigated. Yeah, it probably was the same guy. But
when you got to take a nap, you got to lie down. You don't have the option.
Well, he was evading police. So you think if it didn't work for you the first time, what makes you think it's going to happen for you the second time? That you're going to hide from the cops under a box truck?
Probably assume that lightning never strikes twice in the same place. So what's the likelihood it'll get caught again?
I don't know. Hey, remember we were talking about that hot mugshot girl?
Just looking at the story now.
Yeah. It looks like the hot mugshot girl decided to stretch her 15 minutes of fame into a half hour. She got arrested again yesterday, and there's a new mugshot. If you're just catching up, 21-year-old Lily Stewart goes to the University of Georgia. She went viral last week thanks to the mugshot she took after she got arrested for speeding earlier this month. At least you're not going viral for some other reason, like a sickness or an illness.
No.
Got. Cops threw her in jail after she got pulled over once, then again minutes later by the same cop for driving even faster. TMZ says she got arrested again early yesterday, but not for speeding this time. They charged her with loitering and obstructing an officer. Last checked, they said they hadn't said exactly what she did, but it happened in Athens, where the University of Georgia is. They booked her at 5:26 a.m., and she was released on a $4,000 bond a few hours later. Her new mugshot isn't as flattering, but it's still pretty decent.
It's still very attractive.
She's in pretty prison garb this time. Not pretty, prison garb.
Right.
And there's also a side profile shot, so you can see her all around.
I wonder whether this is going to affect her membership in the sorority.
I don't think she really cares about that.
I know she didn't care about that, but ultimately, does the rest of the sorority say, hey, the chance that Lily may not be representing the frat?
You know what? I would say this. You were hot the first time you got arrested. Now you just look like an idiot.
She's got the crazy eyes in the second one.
Yeah, she does get those crazy eyes.
You know crazy eyes, right? You see it?
Yeah, remember that Runaway Bride years ago? That had the big crazy eyes?
Wicked crazy eyes.
Yeah. Deer in a headlight look.
Something tells me this is her baseline. It's the crazy eyed look.
She's probably one of those arrogant, pretty people.
Yeah. What's the old saying? No matter how good looking they are, there's always somebody who thinks who's sick of her crap.
Yeah. That's exactly.
I think that's what's going on here. I think the cops out there are sick of Lily Stewart's crap.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, it's going to be rainy today eventually. A little bit of snow showers this morning. high of 45. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, nice day with a high of 52. It's 35 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:51. And the Eagles of Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
Going to be cloudy today with some rain showers eventually. A little bit of snow showers out there right now, depending on where you are in the Pioneer Valley. And whatchamacallit? Where's the forecast? Oh, yeah. 35 right now in downtown Springfield.
As you know, Bacon and Brews is sold out. We want to thank our sponsors, Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements, Aqua Pump, Nor'easter Organic Life Hydroponics, Tommy Car Auto Group, GG Inc., The Log Cabin. And thanks to all of you who will be joining us at Bacon and Brews. It's going to be a great, great afternoon of fun. Stay tuned for more exciting news and events coming up in 2025 from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
George from Agawam said you guys talking about drinking from an ashtray was pretty disgusting.
I didn't say I did it. I know a guy. That was his thing.
I got a buddy who likes ashtray drinking.
Well, he hasn't done it in a long time. I'm sure if you went to him today and say, hey, let me see you do it, he's going to go, yeah, I'm all set.
He would. You never know. You never know what people are capable of.
I would like to think that's past him.
Well, if you did it once, you're capable of doing it again.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But, there's a certain time and a place when a man says, I think I've done enough.
So like I said, I had a pretty low-key weekend. Did some walking. I've been doing a lot of walking around.
Where are you walking?
Everywhere. Parks.
Nature
areas.
Are courts told in advance that you're doing this?
I'm perfectly allowed to be wherever I am.
Are you?
I think, yeah. My dog is he was getting a little overweight. And the vet recommended you got to take him out for long walks. You can't just
You got an enormous piece of property. Can't you just let him go in a lead and run like crazy?
Well, you could, but he doesn't like to. He just likes to go outside, do his business, and come right back in. He's one of those.
Yeah.
So you got to force him to go.
So I got the best dog when it comes to that kind of thing. He's got less motivation and stamina than I do.
Yeah.
After I'd say 50 yards, he's had pretty much enough.
He's done.
He's like, all right, that's enough.
One of the things I did get into over the weekend, Friday night I started and then I finished Saturday morning, the Body in the Snow, the Karen Reed documentary on HBO.
Oh, we watched I think 2.5 episodes of that.
Yeah. I watched the whole thing, and I've come to the conclusion that every player in that game is a piece of garbage, including the people that were in that house, her, the lawyers, all of these people are just bad people. The witnesses, the police detectives that were assigned to the case, they're just horrible people.
The only person that seems to be kind of on the up and up, in my view, Turtle Boy.
Oh, yeah.
The only guy that seems to be really that's a legitimate guy right
clean
there.
as a whistle, that guy. But the whole thing, and I said this, I've been saying this all along. There can be multiple truths to a story. I really do believe that she hit him and left him for dead in the snow. And I don't think she actually knew she killed him. She realized she hit him later on because she was drunk. She was so drunk. And in this whole piece, I never heard this piece where she walked up to his body and pulled a piece of glass out of his nose.
That I hadn't heard.
Yeah.
I also, one of the things that was mentioned was, they have, all these bars have video footage.
Yeah.
And at one point, they're counting all the drinks that she's had. Now, if you've seen pictures of Karen Reed, you know she's not a large woman. She's tiny, real tiny. Well, they've got her being served 9 drinks that you see on the video.
Yeah.
You don't know what else she might have had. You don't know if she was kind of had drinks before the footage. You just don't know. Her explanation is, well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't drink them all. I was putting one to another's, and so that was like 2, and then 4,
She wound up
6.
Yeah, she wound up saying it was about 6 that she had.
The-
But 6 for a little person like that is a lot of booze.
6 for a big person is a lot.
Yeah.
9 is even. There are very few people that I know that can have 9 drinks and not be somewhat affected by it.
Yeah, and the way her story kept changing throughout the whole thing, like you know, initially she didn't even remember that she was at that house. She had told one of the witnesses that she was, again, she's not going to go to jail. She just isn't, because there's enough reasonable doubt to be and that's what the defense is there for. She's not going to go to jail. She's just not.
Yeah.
But I do believe that she actually hit him. I don't think she intentionally killed him. And I think that the other people that were in that house are also pieces of garbage too, because of their connections with everybody. And it even it came up in that Michael Proctor's text messages, like, because somebody had said in the text messages, well, I bet you the homeowner's going to be in trouble too. And he was like, nope, Boston cop. You know, the whole thing is just...
The whole thing stinks, and everything about it, you just you have to question. But, I mean, there are people that are convinced that she didn't do it at all. And you know what? That's fine.
The thing that...
It's far, but you're absolutely right. This case is not necessarily about whether she did it or not. It's about whether there's enough reasonable doubt to clear her name. And I think there's probably enough reasonable doubt to do that.
You know, she's more concerned throughout the whole thing about how she's going to look on Channel 4.
She's in her pajamas.
Well,
I mean, that's embarrassing.
I mean, I guess that is embarrassing. But I mean, you're on trial for your life. Are you really... She's so concerned about the way she looks. It's like, I don't think I would feel that way if I'm being accused of something that I adamantly didn't do.
Well, again, you have to take that piece of video in context.
Yeah.
She probably was feeling how you were feeling, but at that moment, which was captured on camera, he's probably saying, can I just get on some clothes maybe? She's probably already sorted through the feelings that you're talking about. Because, I mean, what you're seeing in that video is, again, just a slight, brief moment of time in this entire thing.
Yeah, but throughout the entire thing, where the cameras are following them around, and and knowing what I know about entertainment, this is just created drama. You're creating this for a television series. She knows, she's very well aware she's on camera, and the thing that really got me is she had no emotion shown over the death of this man, the boyfriend. The only emotion she showed was at the very end, when she's like crying, realizing, hey, I might be going to jail for a very long time over this.
She was crying during the footage of wondering whether she hit the guy.
Well, but was she?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When they got to the play, I'm talking about like the actual, when she's recanting the story and telling the whole thing. And I know we don't have much time at all, but the very end credits, you can tell this broad drinks a lot.
Yeah.
Because at the end, she's like, I just want to go home and have dinner and a drink. And I'm like, I bet you do. I bet you do.
Maybe drinking might not be the best choice.
Perhaps, but
it's 7 o'clock on Rock 102.
Caller. And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? As many of you know, the New England Patriots have spent the offseason doing a lot of things. Firing coaches, hiring new ones, releasing players, signing new ones, scouting talent for the draft through the workouts, interviews, and going to the combine. The Patriots are making all kinds of changes that will help them go from a team that finished with a record of 4 wins and 13 losses to perhaps becoming a team that could potentially improve to a record of 5-12 or 6-11. Or perhaps they could exceed everybody's expectations and become one of the teams in the bubble for a wild card spot in the playoffs. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. During the last couple of weeks, while the Patriots were busy shoring up preseason roster additions with solid defensive free agents like Milton Williams or Harold Landry III, Many believe that the Patriots failed to make enough moves on offense, particularly with wide receivers, since Drake May's closest interaction with a high-quality wide receiver last year was watching them play on opposing teams. Well, Patriots are hoping to rectify that. Not only do they have the number 4 pick in the draft, over the weekend they met with free agent wide receiver Stephon Diggs. Diggs, who has spent his entire career bouncing between Minnesota, Buffalo, and Houston, racked up 4 Pro Bowl appearances and once led the league in receptions. Granted, that was 5 years ago, but he did it, and he used to be very, very impressive. So Stephon Diggs got himself, if Stephon Diggs gets himself signed with the Patriots, what's going to happen? Well, that depends largely on how many other 31-year-old receivers they're looking at and how many of them are recovering from a reconstructed ACL they blew out in October. If that's the sort of guy they're looking to sign, then they might have just found their guy. But if they prefer to take that wait-and-see approach to find someone who's got maybe more physical problems, then perhaps they might want to tap the brake on this one, because I think there's only a limited number of how many broken-down players you could actually fit on one NFL roster. And by signing this guy, you might have already exceeded the limit. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Get your Scott's 4-step now at Rocky's. $95 with your Ace Rewards card. Spend $150 on Scott's products, get $25 bonus reward. Plan ahead for a lush summer lawn. Get everything now and get a hell of a deal at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7:13, and Ozzy with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
Oh, here he is, putting us in 3rd place in the bracket competition this week.
What are you gonna do?
You know what? I was telling him I brought the bracket in. Okay, I mean I was actually going to say for someone who took some, as we call them, flyers in the first round, we hit 26 of the 30. I hit 26 of the 32 games in the opening round, and this guy is complaining. He's in 3rd place out of how many people? 15?
Well, wait a minute. Which ones are you looking at?
We're looking at the Rock 102 bracket brawl. You're in 1st place with like 40-something picks. Dan Williams has 40-something picks, and then here, Scott Cohen and I, because I went with all your picks, 37.
Oh, my gosh.
Boy.
30. You are, talk about ungrateful. My gosh. He's ungrateful.
I would have been grateful if we were number 1.
I know you would have been. I have no designs when it comes, if you think you know what's going on in college basketball, unless you're just a freak, you can't have any designs on that. All bets are off when it comes to the tournament.
My picking percentage is at like 82.5%, which is respectable.
Yeah.
But on the ESPN tournament, I'm in 4.5 millionth place.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's acceptable.
I worked with this guy, and listen, granted, he's still a college. He's the play-by-play guy. I think for the Southland Conference, he's one of their announcers. His name's Dan Gresham. Worked with him in TV way back when in the 80s down in Texas. He almost had a perfect bracket after the first round. I think he was like 98 point something. So there are people out there who can do that, but. Like we said,
I gotta say though, when you were here last week, you picked a couple of dark horses that I did not expect.
Yes,
McNeese State.
Yeah, I did,
and the Clemson game. McNeese and Clemson, right? That was the one.
I had my dark horses, as you said. I had McNeese State. I picked Colorado State to win, and they did, and I had Drake winning. But my big upset special was McNeese State. I picked them. Nobody
in their right mind
I
would have
know.
picked that because they had never won any game in tournament history. And yet I don't know what kind of inside information you had, but that when I saw that score, I'm like, son of a bitch, you got that one right.
The good news is he's losing in the office pool.
Who is?
Bax. We have that ESPN friendly competition.
Who's leading in that?
Lufkin, the sound guy.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Good
but
for John.
But I'm in number 2, followed by your boss, and then Alex, our boss. Mm-hmm. So it's I'll take it.
It's not bad. I mean, so like going down the bracket that Steve was chastising me about. Tried to pick Yale in the first round. That was a flyer. You see, maybe who knows what happens. I like VCU, and they've kind of screwed me because I had them winning winning their first round game and the second one, and they got bounced out in the first round. Utah State as well. And,
as much as I don't like to give you any praise whatsoever.
A
listener wrote in and said, Colorado, please tell Scott I said thank you for the McNeese State prediction because I took McNeese State.
Yes.
There you go.
That's what we're here for.
And that's all your praise you're going to get here today, pal.
That was totally a sentimental pick because I think I told you guys, way back in the day, they played in the conference where that I covered. Joe Dumars was playing during that time. Actually, Karl Malone and Joe Dumars were in that conference playing at the same time. Dumars at McNeese State and Karl Malone at Louisiana Tech. So a lot of history.
I get screwed by Louisville Creighton.
Of course you did. Condolences, by the way.
A lot of people did. I figured Louisville had the chance. They did not. Creighton winds up winning. I got screwed by Marquette, New Mexico. I didn't have high hopes for Marquette getting past.
But you thought
I went with my heart and not my head. Anytime you have a team that was number 5 in the country, but then winds up being a 7 seed in the tournament, should tell you everything you need to know about whether or not that team's got a chance in hell. Memphis, Colorado, I got screwed on. Missouri and Drake, I picked. I picked Missouri. I hate the Drake.
I hate the Drake.
Kansas and Arkansas, I picked Kansas. Now, the Arkansas story, I think, is really interesting.
Yeah, we should
talk about this.
We should talk about that.
John Calipari and Rick Pitino have a long history of following each other around the country.
They do.
And they don't care for each other at all. They are not friends. They may have some level of respect for each other, but for the most part, they can't. They hate each other's guts.
Which kind of, in a big way, we actually have a lot in common with the two of them.
Because we hate their guts.
Because we hate their guts too.
Anyhow, Arkansas beats Kansas, so that was an upset, 79-72 over to advance to face Rick Pitino and St. John's, who smoked Omaha in the first round. Now, St. John's is number 2. They go with the best players in the Big East.
Yep.
And here's here's John Calipari, the number 10 seed against the number 2, and they beat Rick Pitino. That's a huge upset. But when it comes to these guys head to head, John Calipari has had the edge throughout the year in their career.
John Calipari, say what you want about him, and we try to whenever possible. Yeah, he's had the edge pretty much against. I mean, when you get to that many Final Fours, despite the fact that they get taken away once you're there, he's got a winning record against a lot of the top college coaches in the country.
Yeah.
I will say this: I was doing the brewery tour on Saturday and Sunday, and we were at Fort Hill Brewing in East Hampton on Saturday, and the game was on St. John's and Arkansas, Pitino and Calipari, like you just said. I got to tell you something: the bar was full. And obviously a lot of UMass fans, and Calipari coached there and Pitino played there. You kind of had the flavor of like when it was really cool around here. Even though, UMass can't claim Calipari for their own anymore. It was really that was a matchup we wanted to see. We got it. It lived up to billing. And to be honest with you, having Calipari win the game is the better story, quote unquote. So, I mean, I don't know. Who knows what this guy's got up his sleeve, Bax?
My understanding is that Rick Pitino was so upset by this loss.
He was
pissed. the horrible play of his best players.
Yep.
That he almost didn't want to have sex on a table in a restaurant. That's how angry he was.
He was angry, and he didn't think he could perform.
I'm not even in the mood to have sex in a restaurant tonight. I'm going to have to find some way of blowing off some extra steam.
This is all from the sad but true file, unfortunately.
Yes.
So down the road, UConn, the men, got bounced out of the tournament yesterday. And again, I'll sit there and I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is something wrong with Dan Hurley. But he's out. They played great. They played a better team than them, and they got kicked out of it. The Yukon women are going to play and beat somebody's butt today. I think it's South Dakota State, something like that. So, and on it goes.
And as far as everything else it looks, I mean, the Red Sox opening day is not that far away now.
Big story there was Kristen Campbell, one of their top prospects. He's going to make the 25-man roster, probably start at second base. Their other triumvirate of players that they had are all going to go to Worcester, probably see them later in the year. I think the Sox are on the rise.
Celtics are playing good too, and they're getting production from bench players and guys who aren't starting, and remarkable play by those guys.
They are, and I think that's Missoula's blueprint now. He's spreading it around. He's giving his main guys rest, getting them ready for when it really counts. Over to hockey for a minute. And the Bruins are just terrible. I'm not even going to talk about how many points they're out of a playoff spot because they're just sunk. But NCAA hockey, UMass made the tournament. They're going to play Minnesota on Thursday. UConn is in. They're going to play Quinnipiac in the first round. Maine, BC, and BU all made the tournament. So Hockey East is college hockey's version of the SEC in the basketball tournament because more SEC teams than any other conference are continuing to play in March Madness.
I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I'd find this to be absolutely fascinating. When Wick Grousbeck bought the Celtics 23 years ago, however it was, he bought it for $360 million, and he's about to sell it for 17 times the amount
Isn't that
he bought
crazy?
it for. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
And I did it on my View from the Couch. If you bought a $7 hot dog at the TD Garden and raised the price by 17 times, that's a $119 hot dog.
That better be a good hot dog.
It better be a damn fine hot dog for that price. But it just shows you how the value of these teams is so out of whack.
I guess the Celtics are, when they put the pen to paper, will be the most valuable sports franchise in the country, surpassing the Yankees, surpassing the Dallas Cowboys. And I guess the nice thing is that a New England guy bought the team, so we'll see what he's got up his sleeve.
All right, very good. We will talk to you next week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the tournament.
Later, loser.
Later, you loser.
It's 7:24 on Rock 102.
GG Inc.'s
7:32. With Bax and Nagle on Rock 102, it's time for news brought to you by Yankee Home Improvement. Celebrate the changing season with new windows from Yankee Home. Yankee Home windows are built for every season. Call Yankee Home today. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Oh, the parade is over now, and nothing but tears in the bottom of an empty Guinness glass. That's what's going on now. We're just picking up chunks of corned beef puke all over the streets of Holyoke and doing a big giant cleanup job over
I fell asleep in a pool of my own vomit. I'm going to have a hell of a time cleaning that pool this year.
Oh, look at it. Kegs and eggs. And then legs and eggs. Did you see all the hot lasses out there for that road race there, Maxie?
I did. I actually hired a few to help clean the pool.
Look at the shillelagh on that one. With her big leprechaun hat and her beard. Yeah, that's another wrap on another St. Patrick's weekend in Holyoke, and pretty successful.
We don't have any drunken, disorderly arrest statistics at this point, right?
No, I'm actually looking to see the injury report on the potholes from people stepping in them along the parade route. That speaking of potholes, that they have repaired some of them.
It's like a quick patch thing, though, right?
Quick patch thing, but there are still some potholes on that stretch of Homestead Avenue between I can't remember the name, Homestead Avenue and
those two other streets,
Lower Holyoke Road.
Yeah,
there's still some potholes out there. I'm sure it has to do with budgeting and whatnot, and
sure,
things like that, but I don't know how they fared during the parade. Did the whole float full of Colleen's tip at one point?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
But a successful weekend in Holyoke. So congratulations to all those people who made it out alive.
I would love to know, like the porta potty industry must thrive in a weekend like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's porta potties everywhere. You got to have the porta potties.
Well, I told you in my Facebook memories popped up the other day. Somebody had sent me a picture of what the inside of the porta potty looked like, and it was filled with Dunkin' cups and shots of Jameson and energy drinks.
Right.
Because you got to have your energy. You got to have your Celsius, Baxy. That's how we did it in the old country. Your Celsius,
Yes.
and then your neutral seltzers.
Yeah, that's the way.
That's how we keep the weight off.
Yeah, the green Celsius.
Yeah, but the inside of those porta potties must be disgusting.
Well, all porta potties, once they've been used, are disgusting.
What? But a lot of that. I mean, you can have porta potties that stay cleanly, even if they're being used. I mean, I once rented one for my house when I used to have those big parties on my front lawn, and I rented one. They're all adults. Nobody threw anything in there that shouldn't have been in there, and nobody and you're talking like 100+ people.
But in a public event like the road race,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And the parade, people just they want to relieve themselves and get back in their spot. That's what the parade is all about. I mean, you got to believe there are some people that just abuse the privilege of being able to use a pristinely beautiful porta potty.
I like pristine porta potties.
It's like we have a porta potty at the Mayflower Marathon, and I used it a number of times when I was out there. I always made sure that I kept it clean.
Well, that's because it was only for us.
Yeah.
Again, would you treat it the same way if you were at the fire festival?
No, of course not.
Or
I would rock that thing bad.
The Lilith Fair.
I would
bet
do
you that one stinks.
I would do some crazy things at the Lilith Fair.
I'm sure you did. We're doing Cosmos. That's probably like the least party, drinking kind of
I've had
festival.
14 Appletinis and some patchouli cigarettes.
At least at the fire festival, you got people doing like psychedelic mushrooms compounded with MDMA and drinks.
Yeah,
At the
well, you
Lilith
got to
Fair,
hydrate.
At the Lilith Fair, what do you got? White Claws?
White Claws. Maybe there's a Birkenstock that's been shoved in there.
Right. The partying difference is two completely different things. A former public works director was sentenced for illegally disposing hazardous materials on public property in Fairfield, Connecticut, and other crimes. 63-year-old Joseph Michelangelo was sentenced to 8 years in prison, execution suspended after 6 months served, and 5 years of probation. Chief's State Attorney Patrick Griffin announced the sentencing last week. Michelangelo was ordered to pay $10,000 to a victim's compensation fund for medical expenses associated with the town employee's exposure to hazardous materials. He was also prohibited from participating in remediation activities within the state. Griffin said Michelangelo pleaded guilty in November of 2022 in Bridgeport Superior Court to illegal disposal of polychlorinated biphenyls. Ooh, those are bad stuff.
Those are tough ones.
Receiving solid waste at an unpermitted facility, illegal disposal of asbestos, and conspiracy to commit the crimes of first-degree larceny, second-degree forgery, and various environmental offenses. The sentencing marked the completion of a lengthy prosecution of multiple offenders accused of committing environmental crimes and engaging in municipal corruption in the town of Fairfield. According to court records, Jason Julian of Julian Development and his business were allowed to operate a facility on town property whereby waste materials from construction and demolition debris and
the
other
debris, Steve.
Mr. Marquette, and other contaminated substances, including PCBs, heavy metals, and other toxic carcinogens, were illegally stockpiled, crushed, and disposed of at the public works site.
Heavy metal, dude.
And
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I told you I'm watching I was rewatching all those episodes of The Sopranos, and that part where they got to the asbestos where they couldn't find a place to put it anymore, so they just dumped it in the water in New Jersey. Big garbage truck full of asbestos just coming to dump it right there. This is kind of what this guy was doing. Michelangelo in 2022 admitted that he and other town officials participated in a pattern of activities that included a conspiracy between themselves and Julian to operate part of the public works property which became a dumping ground for the contaminated waste materials.
But other than that, had to go somewhere.
Your Honor, it was Bridgeport. I didn't think anybody would notice.
I tried to bring it to the worst place in the state.
Yeah.
I thought Bridgeport, it would be easy to lose that kind of stuff.
They said Long Island Sound. I thought that was a sound place to dump these things.
Your Honor, I did a little research on Google. I couldn't find anything that said asbestos would be bad for fish.
Also down in Connecticut, a man was arrested for having a large amount of marijuana following a Bridgeport motor vehicle stop. Police conducted a stop on Greenfield Drive due to several motor vehicle violations. Another one of these failed students of the Steve Nagle College of Criminal Knowledge. When 28-year-old Marcus Acosta of Meriden was handing the officer his documentation, a canine noticed a massive amount of marijuana along with packaging materials in the back seat. A canine noticed that? The cop didn't notice that when he looked in the back seat and saw 18 pounds of marijuana? That's how many pounds of marijuana was in this car.
How big was the car?
I don't know. Is the dog standing up on his hind legs with the little walkie-talkie and go, hey, psst, check this out.
I mean, 18 pounds is a lot of pounds of marijuana.
I'm looking at the take. It's a lot of weed. Yeah, because an ounce of marijuana is a lot. Because it's like that pound of bricks, pound of feathers thing.
Yeah.
You know, a 1 pound brick is obviously much smaller than 1 pound of feathers.
I mean, imagine you're driving around in like a small coupe.
Yeah.
All I can imagine is there's all this weed, and then the guy's head is poking out of the big pile of weed with his hands on the steering wheel, and all you see are the very tops of his knuckles.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the car is loaded with loose weed.
Following us, I can't see over the steering wheel. I'm driving around in my smart car. Following his thorough search of the vehicle, 18.4 pounds of marijuana, $3,954 in cash, and 2 cell phones. He's now facing charges of operation of a drug factory, a small factory.
Right.
Hey, it's Small Business Month. You got to support the small business.
I always try to buy local.
Possession with intent to sell 1 kilogram or more of cannabis. His bond is set at $250,000. He was also issued the infraction for tinted windows. That one he's fighting.
What are you going to do?
You're not going to. Hey, listen. I get the weed that was in the back seat, and I get the cash and all these other things, but these tinted windows. Did you use your little measuring stick to see how tinted these things were?
You know, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the least of his problems.
A zoo in Wisconsin is searching for river otters who escaped from their enclosure during a winter storm. The new zoo in Suamico, Wisconsin, reported 2 of their. Is that how you say it? Suamico?
I don't even think I know that one.
Reported 2 of their North American river otters, Lewis and Ophelia, escaped early Thursday morning. The zoo said the otters enlarged a small breach in their buried fencing around their habitat and used that to escape. Zookeepers noticed the 2 otters were missing during their morning rounds on Thursday and initiated the zoo's procedures for escaped animals. All right, I want a SWAT team and I want a swim team covering all these inlets and outlets. Every little tributary going into that river is where we're going to search for these otters. The professional tracker was brought in to help find them. It's like a big forensics thing.
Yeah, well, they're very quick swimmers. They're very speedy little animals.
Their fresh snowfall yesterday meant lots of very clear track evidence we could use to piece together the activities. The zoo said in a Facebook post, otters have some of the most easily recognizable tracks of all mammals due to the way they frequently slide on their bellies.
What was the name of the town?
Suamico, Suamico.
I don't know that one.
Well, anyway, the zoo asked visitors and nearby residents to document any sightings of the otters and send it to them as professional trackers. These are like those 2 guys that escaped from that prison up in upstate New York.
The one that convinced that lady to help them out?
Yeah, I was going to say, did they sleep with one of the zookeepers?
I don't know.
Hey, we'll do you some favors. We'll take you on a nice river cruise when we're done with this whole thing.
And then by the end of it, you can't understand how come these relationships failed.
Did you see that documentary, too, about that lady?
I saw the film with like Patricia Arquette and Benicio del Toro.
No, there's a documentary about it.
I don't know if I may have seen the documentary, but the film that they did, Paul Dano was in it too. It was really good, and Patricia Arquette seemed like a one that might have been easily swayed by the dark and brooding good looks of a Benicio del Toro.
Oh, really?
She seemed to be kind of into it.
Oh, Benicio del Toro is a good-looking dude.
Yeah, I guess so.
If you're into that kind of thing.
You're into that rough and tumble-looking guy who hadn't slept in like 4 or 5 months? Yeah, that's your guy.
He's got bedhead all the time. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today going to be rainy, cloudy, rainy, and then a high of 45. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, pretty nice with a high of 52. It is 36 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. It's 7:53 and Led Zeppelin with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Traffic alert update. Road hog. That 91 South ramp. It's being cleaned up, I guess. So it's 291. It's the 91 South ramp from 291. There was an accident there. I guess it was pretty bad, but it is being cleaned up, and that ramp is now moving again. But it's probably still going to be some delays out there. So there you go.
Rock 102 and Aqua Pump want to send you to Boston Calling this Memorial Day weekend. One lucky listener scores a pair of 3-day passes to check out bands like the Black Crowes, Dave Matthews, Sheryl Crow. Actually, the lineup is really, really cool. Enter at rock102.com by the end of the day on March 30th. That is next Sunday for your chance to win. It's your chance to go to Boston Calling from Aqua Pump and Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock.
You know, I saw you put the plaque up on the bathroom upstairs with your name on it.
I posted the picture of the so it's the Mike Baxendale honorary men's powder room.
Yeah.
And I affixed it to the door right under the men's room sign. And then I decided, it might be nice for people to understand what a beautiful bathroom this is. So I took a number of pictures of the inside. I took a picture of the toilet.
Yeah,
flushed. I took a picture of the sink. Took a picture of the wastebasket full of paper towels, and I also took pictures of where someone had rambunctiously ripped the toilet paper holder off the wall.
Yeah. Well, we have that little stand thing that needs a couple of rocks to weight it down so it doesn't fall over.
It does that all the time.
But why didn't you put it on the bathroom that you actually use? I mean, you only use this one quickly during the show.
I tried to think of
the one that you have the throne in upstairs is near your office.
Because I think when you look at the totality after 30 years, the one that I have used the most
is this one.
Is probably this one.
Yeah.
Because this was, for a while, this was the only bathroom we had in the building for many, many years. So I think realistically, that's the one I use most often. Now, the one that I use regularly every day now is the one by Aaron's office.
Yeah.
And I rocked the bejesus out of that one.
That's a lovely thing that you do to that lady.
I don't mean to.
Well,
it just
I know.
I'm like clockwork when it comes to my digestive system.
It's like right across from her office. It's not like right across from your office.
Yeah. I like
that
one.
Buffer zone.
I like that one because it's spacious and it's got like the handicap railing.
Yep.
Sometimes I need to brace myself. And and also the heating system in that particular bathroom is like a sauna. And on a cold winter's day,
you like that.
It's nice and toasty. It's very much like like being in the womb.
Here's the problem: we're having a new building is being built here for this place.
Yeah,
right next door. There's going to be another building. It's going to be a lot smaller than this place is. Area-wise,
but a more efficient use of
more
space,
condensed space, which means everybody's going to have to deal with that now.
Well, there'll be multiple bathrooms because it will still have to fit code. Back in the day, there was nothing compliant about this building.
What do you do? Are you only going to the bathroom in there, or do you just spend some time in there? Because I'm leading into something else that we're going to be talking about.
Here, it's all business.
All business. Well, a 20-year-old Orthodox Jewish man from New Jersey is suing United Airlines. He claims a pilot yanked him out of the bathroom for taking too long. It happened back on January 28th while flying home from a trip to Mexico with a friend. A flight attendant woke up his friend from a nap and told him to go check on him because he had been in the bathroom for 20 minutes.
Ooh, that's too long.
20 minutes on an airplane? That's a lot. That's a very long time.
I could do that at home, but I'm usually reading something or playing on my phone.
The guy yelled through the door that he was fine. He was just constipated. I'm just constipated. So they left him alone. But then the pilot got involved after he still hadn't come out 10 minutes later. 30 minutes in total on an airplane bathroom. Jesus. According to the lawsuit, the pilot started screaming and demanding him to come out immediately, then broke the lock and opened the door on him. The guy's pants were down around his ankles with his junk on full display.
Oh, boy.
All right. He says the pilot, flight attendants, and several passengers all got a good view of it.
Okay. Now, first of all, I understand that there are times when a man just really has a notion, and I get it. I truly do. But you are on a flight, international flight for that matter, and you're hogging the bathroom all for yourself.
He's got lipstick stamps on his passport.
Right, exactly. To me, that's just it's a selfish act to begin with, just by its very nature. It's even more selfish because there's a whole plane full of people.
Yeah.
That need to go and use that bathroom once you are done. And you're hogging it all for yourself. I don't care how backed up you are. That ain't right.
He and his friend got handcuffed and escorted off the plane when it landed in Houston. Airport police put them in holding cells, but eventually released them without filing any charges. They're both suing, claiming they were treated unfairly. They also claim the pilot talked about them being Jewish and made anti-Semitic remarks. That might be the thing that helps them win the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you have, as a pilot, you have some sort of authority, with all these rules after 9/11 and all that stuff that, you're going to be able to open that bathroom because if there's something suspicious going on in there, you have this. It's the anti-Semitic remarks that might get you in trouble.
That's going to be a problem. But, but really, he's not in there because he's Jewish.
He's in there because he's constipated. It can happen to anybody.
But he's even more than constipated. Yeah. It sounds like he was maybe taking care of some other things that need to be dealt with. Things that could have happened in, say, like the airport bathroom. Or at home, preferably.
You think he was hijacking the plane, joining the Mile High Club by himself?
I think it was a lonely Mile High Club experience.
I don't know. We'll have to see what the outcome is.
But I don't think his religion or his culture had anything to do with it.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's where this pilot's going to.
That's where he's going to get in trouble.
And that's it. That's all I got. It's 8 o'clock. We're out of time.
It's Rock 1.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? So, how you doing on your brackets? I got to ask that question no less than 15 times over the last 24 hours. That's one bracket question for every 1.6 hours of the day. And regardless of the time, here's my standard answer to that question. They're crap. They're a humiliating shambles just like everybody else. How bad are they? Well, let's just say that on the ESPN Tournament Challenge, I'm currently in 4.2 millionth place with an accuracy of what I thought would be a respectable 82.5%. Of the 497 people who participated in the Rock 2 Brackets Brawl contest, I'm in 10th place. Now, at the Rock 102 tournament, there are at least 487 people that did worse than me. But according to ESPN, they typically receive 24.4 million brackets each year. And while I don't know if that number is accurate, I do know there's at least 4.2 million people who are doing better than me. Look at these disastrous picks heading into the Sweet 16. I had Auburn, Texas A&M, Iowa State, Michigan State, Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Kansas, Duke, Oregon, Wisconsin, Alabama, Houston, Purdue, Kentucky, and Tennessee. I got hosed by Texas A&M. Iowa State couldn't beat Ole Miss. Kentucky never made it past the first round, past Arkansas. Oregon couldn't handle Arizona, and Wisconsin choked to BYU. And yes, I sat through the entire first-round beatdown that Marquette took from New Mexico. It was the most improbably disappointing thing to happen on the Marquette campus since I managed to walk out of there with a degree. Look, I realize that these bracket competitions are designed for failure, just based on some of the simple laws of probabilities. The numbers are completely stacked against you from the very moment you grab a pencil and fill it out. But to be in 4.5 millionth place, well, it's almost as if the brackets I had were filled out by a complete idiot who didn't have the faintest idea what the hell he was doing. And to make matters worse, I'll do it again next year to see if I do any better, which I won't, since I've been living with these same delusional thoughts for the last 35 years and counting without any luck whatsoever. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You don't need a big grill. What you really need is the Weber Spirit, a compact 2-burner Weber workhorse, only $400 from Rocky's, delivered and assembled. Take it tailgating. Take it wherever you need to go. The small grill 2-burner Weber from Weber Spirit from Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:13, and Fleetwood Mac with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Excuse me, I'm just eating a snack. I'm going to finish up.
Yeah, I guess just
It's peanuts, so.
Peanut?
Peanuts.
Peanuts, you
Peanuts,
said?
yeah.
Just want to make sure I heard the right thing.
36 in downtown Springfield. That's about as far as the forecast I'm going to go with.
That's fine.
Keep going,
Anyhow.
man. Anyway, what do you got? What do you got going on here?
You know, I've had a number of people asking me about the procedure I had last week.
The ablation of glory?
The ablation. And not last week. Was it last week?
Mm-mm.
No, the week before.
Week before.
Losing track of time. And a lot of people have the atrial fibrillation.
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has got it. That's one of the very few things that he and I share.
You mean Captain Roger Murtaugh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, he had the AFib, and he's doing commercials about it, and it's the kind of thing that if you don't take care of, you run the risk of stroking out, and your risk increases by 5 times. It's something that really should be managed. And if you're the kind of guy, and a lot of the reason I'm getting at this is because a lot of men our age, middle-aged men, have this aversion to going to see doctors.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is if you don't take care of yourself, you will get very sick and die. I think that's really what most medical professionals will tell you. So for example, I didn't realize I had AFib until my wife got me an Apple Watch for Christmas. And I put the thing on, and the thing's going ballistic.
This is going back a few years, too.
This goes back, almost 4 or 5.
4 years ago.
But 4 years ago. And had I not gotten the Apple Watch, I would not have known that that's what was going on. Yeah. I would have just figured, I just got wicked tired all of a sudden, think I'm going to go lie down. Turns out I got AFib, so I got medicated, and then I had the ablation, which resets the electrical impulses of your heartbeat. There's another story I saw about the increased number of men that die of prostate cancer every year because they simply don't go to the doctor to get it checked.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of guys are thinking, well, I don't want Mr. Jellyfinger around me and poking and prodding up there. Well, they don't really even do that as much anymore.
No.
Now they do it with just a simple blood test. It's probably more accurate than having your doctor, with a rubber glove and a bunch of gel going poking around.
I remember my first one, the prostate, a check.
Yeah.
He wanted to know if I wanted a chaperone in the room, and I'm like, dude, you and I have been doing this ball grabbing thing for the last 25 years. Do we really need to bring a third person into this? Do we need a cuck to watch the prostate exam?
I mean, there are extra chairs in the room.
And turned out him and I had a lovely weekend in Cancun that
Yes,
weekend.
that's
it was very
great.
nice. He invited me to his beach house.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story.
yeah.
But but you're the kind of guy that's not going to not go to a doctor. I mean, if there's problems, you go. There's a lot of men that simply won't do that. They fear the colonoscopy. They fear the prostate check. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't do those kinds of things, you run the risk of being very sick.
Yeah.
And doing yourselves a great disservice. Now, in my case, I told you that I find the colonoscopy to be an absolutely sheer delight. I love it. Same thing with a prostate exam. And you know why? Because when I used to get my prostate checked with the old-fashioned way with the rubber glove, all I'm thinking in my head is not what's physically going on back in the caboose. I'm thinking about all the hilarious jokes I could be telling.
Well, you're a comedian.
In my heart, I kind of am. And so, like, the very first time that I had it done, I've told you this story before, my doctor, same thing with you, asked, listen, a resident would like to, or intern would like to come and observe.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with that? I'm like, no, I guess not. And so that guy is standing in the room, and my doctor's getting ready to perform the exam.
He doesn't sit on the cuck stool.
No, he's just
That
standing.
means two things.
I know.
Yeah.
He's just standing there with his arms folded.
Yeah.
And so my doctor gets ready to do the exam. So I get the violation, and I start laughing. And my doctor says, "Are you laughing?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why?" He said, "Because I'm thinking of all the jokes I want to tell."
Uh-huh.
And then my doctor says, "You mean like this one?" And he's knocking down like one great line after another, one joke after the other.
Because he's probably heard all of them.
He's
It's like-
heard every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I tell the joke about the guy who, the doctor, he goes in the doctor's office. The doctor, it's killing me up there. Can you take a look? And the doctor goes in there and he pulls out a bouquet of flowers.
Uh-huh.
And the doctor says, "How'd you get the bouquet of flowers up there?" And the patient says, "Never mind, just read the card."
Oh,
Yeah, to
hey,
me,
bing, zing.
that's a great joke. So at the end of it, he takes everything is fine up there, takes the glove off, and the intern says, "Oh, by the way, I love your show." So that is one of those things where, it's a little embarrassing. But you know what? I'm glad I did it because now I have a lifetime of stories to tell.
So does he.
So does he.
He's probably going, listen, I can't say who because of HIPAA violations, but a very famous person came into my office today,
Right.
and I had my fingers in his bum.
Not to violate any privacy laws, but I strongly suggest you donate this year to the Mayflower Marathon.
Please.
Please help the homeless, help the hungry. So but my point in this whole thing is that there's many men approaching their 50s that really should be taking care of these kinds of things and not fearing the procedures and not fearing learning what's going on with your body. If it keeps you alive, it's worth it. If they can determine what's going on inside of you, there should be no fear. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're going to be just fine. These things are routine. But there's an enormous amount of men that simply won't do it because they feel like it is some sort of intrusion.
It's like a rite of passage.
Of course it is.
And you got to have that, I like the chaperone idea now. I should have asked for the chaperone. He's going to need moral support, somebody to hold his other hand. You know what I mean? Like somebody to get really intimate in there.
I hate to tell you, the person who's got the worst job there isn't the person who's lying down on his side. The worst job there is the guy that's got to put the glove on.
Yeah.
I feel worse for him than I felt worse for me.
That's got to be one of the emotional roller coasters of that job. For the most part, you're just doing regular, typical exams and looking down people's throats with a tongue depressor. But then that time you have to put on the jitters you get, the pre-exam jitters you get when you're snapping that glove on your hand, ready to rock and roll.
Think of it this way: you went through all of that schooling, all that medical training. You're in debt by hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're paying an enormous amount of money. in medical malpractice insurance. The rate of your reimbursement is dwindling day after day after day, and the only way you get through your day is sticking a finger in another man's colon.
I've done that for free.
Seems to me it's no wonder no one wants to go into medicine these days.
Who needs to go into medicine to have to do that? That was my point.
We should be doing that.
Listen,
as just like a party gag.
Listen, for the right amount of money, Bax, after $150, it's just flesh.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose the first time you do it, it's kind of a big deal. But after $1,000 in a week, doesn't seem so much.
I wouldn't do it unless it was the right price tag on it. I should be one of those guys, those doctors. Hey, you can pay me $150? We'll get you an exam.
Yeah.
I'm looking for lumps.
Can I get someone who's got much smaller hands, please?
No. You know what you need? You need one of them homewrecker hot dogs from the Autumn Mist farm.
Can I get like a little smoky instead?
No. You gotta widen it out there. You gotta level the field.
Yeah, I don't
see what's going on in there.
I don't know if I need that. Nevertheless, men, please.
It's like spelunking in a cave.
Watch out for the stalactites.
Or the stalagmites. Now, which is the one? The tight ones hang to the ceiling and the mites come over the ground.
Hard to
right?
tell.
Yeah.
But anyway, go see a doctor. Don't be such a tough guy. Do what's right for yourself.
And let me just point out, this is not where I thought any of this conversation was ever going to go today.
No, but
that's the surprise of the Bax and Nagle show.
It's just that I saw a story today that said, that there's an increase of prostate cancer, and the numbers are mostly the guys that don't go and never get checked it out.
I was going to do this story about the porn star and her fupa, but we can save that for another time.
Oh, that's an evergreen story that could work at any time.
That's a timeless tale that could be told at any time.
It's 8:25 on Rock 102.
Boston call.
It's 8:27 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown will have the full forecast for you.
Hey, this week my guest on Baxy's Musical Podcast is singer, songwriter, radio host, and podcaster Keith Roth. This is a guy who has performed on 50 different records with a lot of very pretty notable people. Not only is he the current lead singer of the band The Dictators, he also spent like 18 years playing with David Johansen and a bunch of others. He was also a radio host on Hair Nation and Ozzy's Boneyard. He's also the co-host of a really cool podcast called Rockstrap, where he and his co-host Don Jameson talk to rock guys about their favorite sports teams. Anyway, he's got his very first debut solo album that came out late last week called The Law of Diminished Returns. It is really, really good, and the conversation that he and I had was awesome. You should check that out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, the Rock 102 app, and at rock102.com. And it's all brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. And a good possibility this week I'm going to throw in a bonus episode later on this week.
Bonus episode?
Probably on Thursday.
Ooh.
Oh, I know.
Bonus.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
I'm reading this story about this Brazilian woman who went viral after refusing to give up her pre-selected window seat to a crying child. And she has now officially filed charges against the airline and the passenger who filmed her. The 29-year-old Jennifer Castro, a bank employee from Brazil, found herself at the center of an internet firestorm after the incident in December. A video of the incident, which Jennifer says was actually filmed by a fellow passenger and not the mother, as previously reported, went viral, leading to a whirlwind of online shaming. This lady was the kid was crying. And she asked this lady, hey, can I have the window seat because my kid wants to look out the window? Mm-hmm. And she said no. And then somebody else starts filming the whole thing, shaming her for not giving up the window seat. Let me tell you, maybe I would have, but if I paid for a seat and I specifically picked that seat and you didn't, then you really don't have the right to be, I mean, you can ask, but that doesn't mean that the person has to give up the seat to you and switch with you.
No.
And who knows if the kid's going to stop crying if you go move to the window seat anyway.
I can understand, though, being a passenger on a plane and having a crying child and you just want the crying to stop and maybe accommodating the request. Yeah, I can maybe see that, but I don't think the kid's going to stop crying simply because it's the window seat.
And that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, again, look how much airline tickets are. They're not cheap.
And picking your own seat is an a la carte service on most flights.
Yeah. So this lady is claiming that, because of the online attention that the video received, she's suffering from, people making fun of her and all this other stuff, which, you know what? The whole idea of taking out the phone and videoing every little moment that we have, like, mind your own effing business.
Yeah.
Like, just be the observer. And then you have a great story to tell later. Hey, this broad wouldn't give up her seat for this crying kid on an airplane. You don't have to have the video to accompany the whole thing. Mind your business.
It's 8:31. News is next to Rock 102.
Here's your Western.
With Bax and Nagle on Rock 102, it's time for news brought to you by Aquapump, an expert in all water supply systems from the well to the pump and into the house. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Holyoke St. Patrick's Parade week is over. Successful road race, successful parade, and a famous actress and Longmeadow native was recognized at the annual JFK Awards dinner on Saturday night. 22 News was in East Hampton at the reception to see what this award means to our region. Every year, the St. Patrick's Committee presents the JFK National Award to someone who has made an impact on their community. This year, the award went to Bridget Moynihan. The actress, author, and model moved to Longmeadow with her family when she was 7 years old. She then and later attended Longmeadow High School.
And then later had a baby with Tom Brady.
Yeah, she played several roles in popular series and movies, some you may even love, such as Blue Bloods, John Wick, HBO's Sex and the City, and Coyote Ugly.
I believe it's a coyote.
It's Coyote.
And that's all very well and good. But let me just say and reiterate that she also had a baby with Tom Brady.
Yeah, but that's...
we should all be so lucky.
It's not the most famous thing she's known for. She was being recognized because she serves as the spokesman for a nonprofit that helps kids with serious illnesses, as well as the ambassador of Global Citizens, an international organization dedicated to ending poverty.
Which is wonderful. But she's also the mother of Tom Brady's child. Yeah. And that is, I got to tell you, way to go. Nicely done.
That's not why she got the award, Bax.
I would have given her an award 20 years ago when she had a baby with Tom Brady.
Oh, stop. Truly honored. It was nice to get the call from the committee, said the actress and the recipient of the 2025 JFK Award. It's nice coming back and reminiscing and always feels like home. Moynihan went on to say she's looking forward to celebrating her Irish roots all weekend long, especially at the parade on Sunday. I grew up in Longmeadow. I'm kind of a neighbor to Holyoke. I used to come here and play sports like basketball, soccer, and lacrosse.
That's lacrosse.
Whatever. We're just happy to be accepting this award and celebrations all weekend long. How come she didn't come in here to the studio?
Because I think she's fully aware of Rock 102 and the kind of people it hires.
And obviously, somebody knew that this award was going to be given to her. Why didn't anybody tell us so we could properly announce and bring it the press that it deserves?
Steve, I have long wondered why these things happen when famous celebrities are brought into town, speaking engagements, graduation, speeches or what have you, and no one bothers to tell us. I would think, after all this time, 30 years for me, 20 years for you, that this might be a great platform for someone to join us and speak their mind. We would show them nothing but respect.
I would love to meet Bridget Moynihan.
Me too.
Come in here, talk about her good work. And no questions about the Tom Brady thing.
I wouldn't even mention him by name.
You say that, but we were told one time about Michael Landon's daughter not to ask her any questions about her father, and the first thing that's out of your mouth is, so what's it like being a celebrity, being a child of a celebrity actor like Michael Landon?
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden the guy goes, no questions about the dad.
It's Michael Landon's kid. I mean, how do you not mention Michael Landon? I
Yes,
mean,
but my point is, that you
I was a teenage werewolf. Charles Ingalls.
Yeah.
The other stuff he did.
you've ruined several interviews over the years.
What are you talking about?
Well, the Bill Burr. We almost had a chance.
I will own that one. That was totally on me.
So Bill Burr was scheduled to be on this show. This was going, but was this last year? Was it last year?
I think it was last year.
Bill Burr is expected to come on this program. A very rare interview that we would get with Bill Burr because he's too busy for us most of the time. The agent sets it up with us.
Yep.
The time was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You had what, 9:30?
I had 9:30.
And here we are recording something, and 9 o'clock comes, and the phone rings, and it's Bill Burr on the phone.
Yes.
And you said, "Hey, Bill, we had you down for 9:30. Can you call back?" It's like if the president of the United States called the phone right now, would you be like, you know what? Could you just wait? Could you just wait a little longer?
Well, it depends because we may still have tickets to the Western Mass Home and Garden Show, and I wouldn't want to interrupt that by talking to the president.
Yeah, Bill Burr.
I mean, the president can wait. Western Mass Home and Garden Show tickets. I mean, that's for this weekend.
Well, Bill Burr obviously couldn't wait because then he wasn't available anymore.
Listen, I own it. I know I may have messed up, and these things happen. But for the most part, most of the interviews I do, I think I handle myself quite well.
And that one with Carrot Top from years ago that you blew off.
What I do with the Carrot Top?
He was late calling, but he called after you guys went upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, "Hey, Carrot Top's here." "Nope, sorry. We're already leaving."
Well, this is a time-oriented medium, Steve.
Yeah.
Time is essential. You got to get in, get out. Play your commercials, play your Tom Petty songs, play your Steve Miller. These things have to happen at specific times. No offense to Carrot Top. He is a beloved performer.
Is he now?
But he's calling our show. We're not calling his show.
He's calling our show because we had set up a time.
And he didn't call on time. He called at a different time.
It's Carrot Top. He can call whatever time he wants to.
Not if we're involved in other things. Not at the time he's calling at the wrong time. Not my fault.
The town of Ludlow will be showcasing the area's best local meals with special discounts during the upcoming restaurant week from March 24th to March 30th, which starts today, obviously. The public is welcome to visit 6 eateries in Ludlow and enjoy what tasty food and drink the town has to offer with some of their classics at a lower price than usual. The following establishment, we're going to be talking with these folks from the town of Ludlow tomorrow about this whole thing. Randall's.
Yep.
Vanished Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Casa Pizzeria. That's the place I told you about that I went to and got the pizza with the.
That's the one that Dave Portnoy loved.
Right. Villa Rose Restaurant and Lounge. I've never been there though. This one I want to try. This Primavera.
I've been to Primavera.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's clearly Italian, right? Is it Italian?
No, it's Portuguese.
Are they all Portuguese? Villa Rose.
Villa Rose, I believe, is Portuguese too.
Soul Syndicate Brewing Company.
Have not been there.
I like Tony and Penny's not on the list. That's a good. I listen. There's something about those Portuguese potatoes that I absolutely love.
Yeah, I know. It's delicious.
I don't know. I can't create that at home. For some reason, I just don't know what I'm doing wrong with making those things. They're crispy on the outside and they're creamy in the middle. I don't know how you get it like that.
Well, one, it's the kind of potato you're using.
That's what I'm saying. What is the type of potato you have to use for that?
Usually, like the Yukon Gold ones get real creamy when you cook them. Oh, so good. Yeah, Primavera is Portuguese.
All right.
I've been there. Quite good.
What about Villa Rose?
I have not been. Have I been to Villa Rose? I'm trying to remember. It's been a long. If I have, it's been quite a while.
Today's National Cocktail Day.
Uh-huh.
Don't drink on an empty stomach.
Well, that sounds like a challenge.
It's also National Cheesesteak Day.
Cheesesteak.
Yeah, you ever have a good cheesesteak?
Had my share? Sure.
Some guy just recently passed away down in Philadelphia. He loved his cheesesteak so much they buried him with 2 cheesesteak sandwiches.
Ew.
Because he said he would be hungry after he was dead.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
This is going to be kind of a controversial statement, and if you've had one or the other, you may not agree with me. Given a choice between like a Philadelphia style cheesesteak sandwich,
Yeah.
and a Chicago Italian beef sandwich,
Yeah.
I'll take the Italian beef any day.
I like Italian.
Oh my God, I love them.
That's like a Chicago style.
It's a Chicago style with the giardiniera on the top, and then dipped into the au jus. Woo!
That was
love it.
That was this place down in Florida. The guy was from Chicago.
Yeah,
it was. I believe it was Tony's Chicago roast beef.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it was that crusty bread.
Yep.
They put the grilled roast beef, fresh sliced, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And then they dip it in an entire vat of au jus, and it's not sloppy as you think it would because the bread is so crusty that it kind of just moistens it enough for you to eat it.
Yeah. So good.
I'm getting hungry now.
So good. I mean,
why do we always talk about food and then we're
I don't know.
starving?
The same thing with like Chicago style hot dogs.
There's
so damn good.
There's 5-day-old eggs up in the refrigerator, and I don't know if
I don't know if I want
is that. You think that's still good?
I don't know. I think maybe it might be past its due.
Covered.
I don't know.
Yeah, the price of eggs back. So you see how that's like throwing money down the toilet.
I honestly don't know.
Somebody is selling Garfield-themed T-shirts on Etsy that make light of 9/11. Have you seen this?
No.
It's Garfield, but he's shaped like an airplane, and he's flying into 2 pans of lasagna, standing on edge so they look like the Twin Towers. The caption said, "I'll take 911 orders
Jesus
of lasagna." Now, as horrible as that may be, there was this woman who's she had a father. Her father died in one of the towers, and she's going on a tirade about this whole thing. You know how offensive that is. But I've seen a lot more offensive things about 9/11 over the course of the last 25 years.
Yeah,
or 24 years. That would be more offensive than this.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the T-shirt now, or a video of that was made of this. I imagine someone could easily be offended by this.
Well, especially
Easily.
if your dad was killed in that attack. While the platform does not plan to remove the items, the spokesperson said they're taking a closer look to make sure these shirts don't end up in the ads. This woman, she's urging companies featured on Etsy sellers 9/11 themed shirts, including McDonald's, Target, and Nike, to stand against such products and create policies that prevent profiting from terrorism. Stabile is calling for companies to take action and support families affected by 9/11, questioning the timing and proliferation of these shirts. Maybe it's time to start creating policies where this goes against your company policies, she told Fox 5 New York. You're making money off terrorism. I mean,
you're only making money off of it if someone is much of a douchebag to actually buy the shirt and wear it.
Well,
and most people probably would not.
But there are people who would be caught seen buying those things. Mm-hmm. That's a waste of money.
It's a waste of money. And you know what? The public scorn and outrage of wearing one of those shirts in public would be enough punishment because people would be punished for that.
Yeah, there's a lot more offensive T-shirts that you could buy that don't involve, making fun of a national tragedy.
True.
Like that one on T-shirt hell that says, "Your little princess is my little whore."
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or even the funny. I used to have the Bob Marley shirt with the picture of Jimi Hendrix on it.
See, I like that one.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get people to talk. You want to stand out. You do something stupid like that. There's Mario smoking a joint.
Here's one like a picture of Kiss that said Led Zeppelin underneath it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kobe with a picture of Shaquille O'Neal in a Lakers jersey.
All right. Well, that might be seen Yeah, that might be different.
God bless America, except Florida. F Florida.
I see one here of Tupac, which says Will Smith underneath.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to go very well.
Here's a picture of the McCormick ground cumin behind Mrs. Dash that says, I'm cumin.
Yes, again.
See?
Yes.
That might be offensive, but it's not making fun of a national tragedy.
Not necessarily, no.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be rainy with a high of 45. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 52. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:55 in Rush with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be rainy today with a high of 45. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 52. It's 38 right now in downtown Springfield.
So the original Western Mass Home and Garden Show is going on this weekend at the Eastern States Exposition, March 27th through the 30th. One of the biggest shows ever. Learn more at the westernmasshomeshow.com. We happen to have a 4-pack of tickets to the 10th caller right now at 293-1021. You get to go to the original Western Mass Home and Garden Show at the Big E. Good luck to you.
Kick ass, and the weather's getting nice and warm.
Mm-hmm.
Time to start getting those gardens ready.
There's gardens, but there's other things there too. I mean, they got all kinds of things that you can do around your property, which are very, very cool.
Yeah, if you need services done, there's vendors over there that can help you do. They can help you rake your grass, so they can put covers on your gutters.
And everything in between. All right, so good luck. 10th caller, 293-1021. It's 8:56 on Rock 102.